Hello, I'm Colson Rivers from the University of North Georgia. This is an informative speech for my Advanced Public Communication course, and today we're going to be talking about active listening. And so let's get right into our overview for today. So first we're going to talk about what active listening is and how it's different from regular listening, and then we're going to talk about some additional concepts. Is there more to this than just these things? And then we're going to look at some application. How do we use this and when should we use this? And then we're going to review all that we looked over. So first, let's get into that base definition foundation for what is active listening. So we're going to start with this definition from Galanis and in the textbook, Effective Group Discussion Theory and Practice. And so the definition from that textbook is this: listening with the intent of understanding a speaker, the way the speaker wishes to be understood, and paraphrasing your understanding so the speaker can confirm or correct the paraphrase. So we're going to look at the three portions of this definition this way. Here are those three portions, and then we're going to look back at the definition and dissect it a little bit more. So the first portion is listening with intent. And so we see that here in that first line, listening with the intent of understanding the speaker the way they wish to be understood. And that feeds right into that second portion here outlined, understanding the wishes of the speaker. And so this listening with intent is where we get that active part of active listening, that this isn't a passive washing over, but this is a leaning in, a focusing in on the wishes and of what the speaker is wishing to communicate, and that in order to focus on that, we need to understand what they are trying to communicate. So that those first two portions of this go hand in hand, but so that we can be confident in that focus and that understanding, we paraphrase. And we see that in our final section here. We paraphrase to confirm or correct that understanding, so that we know that our intention and focus is on the right aspect of what the speaker is communicating to us. And there are some more concepts into this, and so we're going to get into those right now. Those additional concepts that we're going to go over are backchannel signals and paraphrasing, once again in a little bit more detail. So first, backchannel signals, also from Galanis. Backchannel signals are nonverbal vocalizations such as mm-hmm or uh-huh that are uttered while another is speaking, partly determined by one's culture, can indicate interest and active listening. And then this paraphrase definition, repeating your understanding of the speaker back to them for correction or confirmation. So, backchannel signals. One part of this might, this seems pretty intuitive, that you give agreement as this person speaking to let them know that you understand, but we need to be mindful of this from this latter portion of this definition. Partly determined by one's culture, and it can indicate interest or active listening. Not always, not that it always will, or not that it never does either. And so we need to be mindful of the communication and cultural context of our communication partner before we dive too deep into backchannel signals and also paraphrase, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. So in some cultures, backchannel signals are extremely respectful and normal, and therefore to not do them, it can actually be considered disrespectful and disinterested, that you're disengaged from the communication from that conversation. However, there are other cultures where even the slightest interruption, even if it's just a can be disrespectful if you are unaware of your communication partner's cultural background. And so simply you can just ask some questions or seek out that understanding for yourself before employing this behavior. Additionally, paraphrasing, you ought to be mindful of this as well. It's important to have a spirit or attitude of humility whenever we paraphrase. We don't want our communication partner to feel like we are being too reiterative of what they're saying, that we are demeaning their choice of words, and we're elevating the way we say it over what they say, but rather we need to have an attitude of clarity, that we want to seek understanding and confirm our understanding of their intentions and what they're saying. Both of those are very key aspects that we can add to our active listening. And so let's talk about the application of this active listening. So now we're going to look at some ideas from the scholar Johnsdotter in his article, Active Listening, is it the forgotten dimension of managerial communication, from the International Journal of Listening. And so in Johnsdotter's definition of active listening is right here. Active listening is a higher form of listening to gain a deeper understanding of the message and the context. And so Johnsdotter really focuses on this purpose behind active listening being to gain a deeper understanding. So that answers the when question of when should we use active listening. We should use it whenever we need a deeper understanding of the message and or the context in that communication space. Johnsdotter also identifies 3 stages to active listening, and they're right here. The sensing stage, the interpreting stage, and then the responding stage. So the sensing stage is what we would most often consider when we think about listening, that physical phenomena that happens when someone speaks and we interpret that with our ears to our brains. That's the sensing stage, that very basic level understanding foundation for listening. And then the interpreting stage, really seeking out what they mean by that and really trying to focus in on their intentions behind what they say. And finally, the responding stage. Johnsdotter kind of broadens this a little bit from simply paraphrase to it can be a shorter confirmation of hearing through something similar to a back-channel signal, just an agreement to that person. It doesn't strictly have to be a paraphrase. And again, we have this reminder here to be cautious when employing back-channel signals or paraphrase, to be mindful of the cultural context and background of our communication partner. And so now let's review what we talked about today. So what is active listening? Active listening is listening with intent, seeking understanding, and then responding to confirm or correct that understanding with that intent. What is there more? Yes, we can use back-channel signals and paraphrase to really double down our active listening and really emphasize that in our conversations and communications. How do we do this? We do this through the 3 stages. We do that through our sensing and our interpreting and our responding that we got from Johnsdotter. And when should we do this? We use this when we need that deeper understanding and we need that greater context in our communication spaces. Here are the references that went into this, which is just Galanis from his textbook and Johnsdotter in his article. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day.